And welcome back, guys and gals. So if you want to follow along, you can actually open up the Maya Scene section 3 part 1 so that you can view the same objects that I am currently seeing on my screen. These are referred to as primitive objects. They're the most basic built-in shapes in Maya. If I go mosey onto my Polygon shelf, you'll see there are a few of them are actually in this shelf here. You can see there's my sphere, cube, cylinder, cone, torus, plane, and disc. It's all these bad boys in the background. I'm just going to turn off my grid so that you can actually see them better. So if you go inside your viewport, there's a little grid button here, and check that. Now we can see our objects without the grid in our way. The other primitives that you have are more advanced primitives that you would find in Maya. If I can show you where to find those, we were going to go into create, polygons, and then we're going to just pop off this window and you'll see it's these primitives down here. It starts at a platonic solid all the way to a soccer ball. There's our platonic solid, and then we work our way through all the way to a soccer ball. Now you might be thinking, why do I need to know about primitives? The reason we use primitives is as a building block or a starting place when you start blocking out creatures, robots, cityscapes, characters. Your imagination is your limit. So we start off with primitives to get a quick rough shape so that we do not invest so much of our valuable time in trying to create a unique shape from using all the Polygon modeling tools. We can use these primitives, slap them all together. We can get a rough idea out and see if it would work. I'm going to quickly jump into a book that I have. So let's go to that book quickly. So now that we're in this book, as you can see, it's 50 robots to draw and paint. So this book goes through designing robots. Most of you, if you're looking into becoming a 3D artist, might have delved into drawing and sketching as well. And then from that, you should have also picked up that with drawing and sketching, you tend to start off with primitive shapes and then you start adding levels of detail up to the required level that the brief requires or the design that you are working on requires. So if I just mosey on through this book quickly to the pages that I want to refer to quickly. So here's the first page. As you can see, it's this complex drawing of some weird alien droid bug at the bottom here. But you can see here the artist used basic primitive shapes to quickly block out this to see if the design would work. And also you can do a technique what is referred to as paint over, where you build a very basic shape like this in 3D. Then you just take a screenshot of it and take it into your digital painting software of choice, and then you draw in and paint over details, so you don't have to try and figure out the perspective when you're just concepting out. The 3D software has already done that for you. If I carry on browsing through this book, you can see here again that the artist starts off with very basic primitive shapes, and then from that it starts layering detail on it. Now again, when you're doing illustrations, you use the primitives as the building blocks for your final illustration, but they also help you wrap your head around the idea of how you would shade these objects, because you would shade a plain cylinder the same way you would shade a detailed cylinder with all these little doohickeys on there. If we go here again, you can see, yes, very basic primitives that built this little droid guy. Go here, this gorilla guy. Again, primitive shapes to get a cool final design. Here is another example with using the primitives, and then the artist went in and added in the detail to his illustration. So I can carry on going through this book and show you how they take primitives like this cool hovering droid here and add in details. The same principle gets taken into 3D. So you would block out your shape or your character, see like this cool droid here, using your basic primitives. In this case, the artist used a rectangle or a square that they just pulled the one side out, so it forms a rectangle, and then a bunch of other rectangles, and Bob's your uncle, we got a cool looking droid. Because at this stage, you should be able to see if a design or concept could possibly work or could not work. Because if you can make it work at this stage of detail. Adding all the other bells and whistles is just adding little cherry on the cake, if I could say, if I could use that metaphor. That is why we need to use primitives and also understand why they actually are included in all 3D applications as pre-built 3D objects that you just click on and the 3D software pops them into our scene. I'm gonna go jump back into Maya. Now that I'm back into Maya, I'm going to close this window. So now you can see by starting off using these primitives, you can actually start assembling very complex shapes. And also with these guys, you can start building your character very roughly to scale and then actually save it out. And then people down the pipeline can actually start using this very low resolution of your creation to carry on doing other things in the pipeline, like either rigging or animating or putting them in final shot as placeholders. And every time you add more resolution and detail to your models, it propagates throughout the production pipeline. So these are the primitives that we get given in Maya, and it's up to us to see how we can use them to benefit our pipeline to speed up the modeling process. With that said, I will catch you in the next lesson.